We are not destined to be the puppet or plaything of the external nature, prakriti, through the working of the three gunas or qualities of nature. When we shift our standpoint to that of the divine, when we recognize our oneness with the creative force, we can participate in the ordering and the ordaining of the divine manifestation. We may be immersed in the play of prakriti. When we shift to the standpoint of the Purusha, the witness consciousness, we begin by observing. At a certain stage, when we recognize our oneness with the eternal, then we can identify as the giver of the sanction for that existence to manifest. Sri Aurobindo translates verse 16 of the Isha Upanishad. O fosterer, O soul seer, O ordainer, O illumining sun, O power of the Father of creatures, marshal thy rays, draw together thy light, the luster which is thy most blessed form of all, that in thee I behold, the Purusha, there and there, he am I. The Mundaka Upanishad affirms, he, verily, who knows that Supreme Brahman, becomes himself Brahman. The Taittiriya Upanishad makes the oneness quite clear. The spirit who is here in a man, and the spirit who is there in the sun, it is one spirit, and there is no other. And I am he that moveth the tree of the universe, and my glory is like the shoulders of a high mountain. And I am he who maketh scripture. I am the firstborn of the law. Before the gods were, I am, yea, at the very heart of immortality. Thus, the seers of the Upanishads saw the basis for the Purusha taking an active, organizing, and manifesting role in managing and directing the actions of Prakriti. We are subject to the possibility of self-delusion. We may believe we have shifted the standpoint, and thus have gained the necessary perspective and freedom to act. The Taittiriya Upanishad has a simple test for this. But when the spirit that is within us maketh for himself even a little difference in the eternal, then he hath fear. Yea, the eternal himself becometh a terror to such a knower who thinketh not. The universal manifestation creates modes of action which become fixed as habitual patterns for a time. So long as we are immersed in the external actions of nature, we are moved by the forces and patterns. Yet none of these habits are immutable for all time. When we shift to the standpoint of the Creator, the Divine, the Eternal, we can participate actively in providing the sanction or withdrawing it, from accepting the habitual pattern or working to bring about change through the application of consciousness force. Sri Aurobindo observes, quote, finally, the mind will come to know the Purusha in the mind as the master of nature, whose sanction is necessary to her movements. It will find that as the giver of the sanction, he can withdraw the original fiat from the previous habits of nature, and that eventually the habit will cease or change in the direction indicated by the will of the Purusha. Not at once, for the old sanction persists as an obstinate consequence of the past karma of nature until that is exhausted. And a good deal also depends on the force of the habit and the idea of fundamental necessity which the mind had previously attached to it. But if it is not one of the fundamental habits nature has established for the relation of the mind, life, and body, and if the old sanction is not renewed by the mind or the habit willingly indulged, then eventually the change will come. Even the habit of hunger and thirst can be minimized, inhibited, put away. The habit of disease can be similarly minimized and gradually eliminated. and in the meantime, the power of the mind to set right the disorders of the body, whether by conscious manipulation of vital force or by simple mental fiat, will immensely increase. By a similar process, the habit by which the bodily nature associates certain forms and degrees of activity with strain, fatigue, incapacity, can be rectified, and the power, freedom, swiftness, effectiveness of the work, whether physical or mental, which can be done with this bodily instrument, marvelously increased, doubled, tripled, decupled. End quote. Reference, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, Looking from Within, Chapter 5, Attitudes on the Path, pages 164 to 165.